Hello and welcome to this analysis on the price of Bitcoin. I am not a financial advisor, so please do not consider this as financial advice. I'm just a guy sharing his thoughts on YouTube. So I'm making a bearish case right now for this price action to be a bull trap. If you haven't watched my last video, I highly recommend that you do. You're gonna have a much more in-depth explanation of why this is a bull trap. But before I explain the short term of what I think is about to happen, and I think is necessary right now because of the call I just made to make some clarification about this, I'll just give you a little more bearish nuggets, if you will. I'll just remove some moving averages just to show you some other ideas of why I think this is a bear trap. Look, what we have right now is a strong parabola. This is the green moving average is a 50 exponential, and the blue is the 200 exponential. Now you can see the green is above the blue. This is the bullish posture, is a huge sign of strength. Golden cross right here. They called it the golden cross. Then the price stays above these two moving averages as they are supporting the price. Very powerful action. Then the green gets broken. You get a lower low right here. The trend lines get broken right here. That was a huge sign of weakness. And you get the death cross right here. And then a golden cross again. Pops back above. Now let's see when that happened in the past. You get a nice parabola right here. You get a death cross right here. Then a golden cross again. Gets a nice rally into the golden cross, and it's a bull trap. Now, in the past again, same thing. Bullish posture, green above the blue the whole time. Everything's perfect. Super massive sign of strength. Then this death cross happens right here. Then almost a golden cross. You can even say that it happened, but it didn't really happen. It was averted right here by the price going down into it, which was very bearish sign, and then the green remained below the blue, which was very bearish and bear market. Now, which is not exactly the same thing as what's happening right now, but let's go see in the past again. Very nice parabola. Death cross right here. Then the golden cross gets a rally into it, but it's a fake out. Then you get downwards action. This is very similar, I think, to what's happening right now. This is not as similar, but it's still pretty similar. I mean, there was almost the golden cross. There was a golden cross here. It was a pull trap. And death cross, golden cross here, bull trap. And then what happened here in this, people are comparing this bull market a lot as to the one that's happening right now. A lot of people are talking about the double bubbles, super cycle gonna happen just like it happened right here. But look what happened when the first parabola blew up here. You had the bullish posture, green above the blue, big parabola, and then the death cross. No death cross. There's not even a death cross close. It didn't even come close and then was averted. There was no even a sign of maybe a death cross happening. There's just no death cross at all. It was just the continuation of the bull market, and then the death cross, golden cross situation. And now look at this, death cross, golden cross situation. So I feel this is quite a very bearish posture. Now, if you go look at the monthly, let's go in the monthly. I'll just put my moving averages back up. Now, what do I see? I'll just put I'll just remove these moving averages. Okay, look at this stochastic right here. I'll put the BLX chart where there's more history, okay? Now, look at this stochastic. Don't you see a pattern? I know this is not perfect. That's not like, hey, I told you so, it's so obvious. No, but it's still pretty damn obvious. There's a pattern going on right here. I mean, look at this. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I mean, it really seems to be a pattern right here, if you ask me. And if you go a little further and you draw trend lines, there's a trend line right here. One support here, and then what happens here? The dump. It was the end of the bull market. You got a dump. Trend line gets broken. and later it's used as resistance, and it's the bull trap, and we get a bear market. Now, there isn't the same obvious trend line to be drawn here, but you still can make one with this stochastic action right here, when there was a movement that was followed pretty perfectly, following a trend line right here. And if you follow it, if you extend it, what do you get? Right here, what happens? Whoa, it's the pop, it's the drop of this blow off top on this top of the bull market, and then when it breaks this line, it's the bull traps and the bear market. And then here we get a much more obvious trend line right here, where it gets broken here, and what happens here? It's the top. It gets broken. It's the correction, exactly where the trend line breaks, and now it's really obviously broken. You can't even make an argument for the trend line to be changed. It's really obviously the trend line's been broken. If the monthly closes in a bullish posture, this will possibly use the trend line as resistance, like this. So I think this is a very bearish posture. Another thing, I counted the monthlies, okay, from the lowest point here to the highest point here. I didn't count this one because I have no idea when it started, but I did count this one, which was obviously the lowest point after a parabola, to the highest point of the next parabola. And what do you get? You get 25 months. Then if you count the months from the lowest point after the last parabola to the highest point of the next parabola, you get 36 months. How much how many months is the average? So if you have to calculate like this pattern happening right here, this pattern happening right here of bull markets, bear markets, bull markets, bear markets, bull market, well, you get an average of 30 months. The bull markets from the lowest point to the highest points in average have lasted for 30 months. And what I've counted how many months from the lowest point here to the highest point here. How many months do you get? 30 months. Pretty crazy, isn't it? 30 months is the exact average of a Bitcoin bull market. Now, you could make the argument that the bull markets are getting longer and longer, so we're going to get another one, and it's going to be like 45 months. Maybe, but to me that's speculation. That's not working with the data we have here. The data we have here is an average of 30 months for the bull markets, so I think it's quite reasonable to say that we had our bull market. This was from here to here, and you can see in the stochastic similar pattern and the trend line broken here. Okay, now I put a lot of legitimacy to these trend lines, because look, I go on the weekly. What happened on the weekly? I'm just going to remove these trend lines. You had some trend lines, really obvious trend lines right here. Look at this. Acted as goddamn resistance the whole time. When it got broken, it was the pop of the bubble pop right here. It was the bear market. Then it even got used as resistance right here. And what did we get here? We get the same thing. On the weekly, we had the trend line, and when it got broken, what happened right here? It was the end of the bull market. It was the correction, and it blew to the bottom side of the stochastic. And now we're at the upper side right here, where the place where it would likely reverse. So I don't know, very interesting. I find this very bearish. Now, another thing I'd like to point out, just like I did in the last video, but with a little more depth, is price very bullish charts like we see right now on Ethereum or Cardano and many other crypto projects. Even though a ton of them altcoins look like absolute dog shit, the charts, but there are some like this which look really good. Now, look at what's happening. In the 2018 bubble pop, you had a cross between the red and the yellow, which was in the bull market. They were in bullish posture, the red above the yellow, and then there was a cross right here, and this was the bull trap. Now, Is this happening right now? No. And this, I think, is fooling everyone. Because everyone's thinking, holy shit, this is so powerful. Ethereum's next big thing is going to kill Bitcoin. And look at this, the cross has not happened. It's still in a bullish posture. So very huge sign of strength. And to be fair, it is a very nice sign of strength. I'm just not confident that Bitcoin is done yet and it's not the king anymore and it's Ethereum. I'm not convinced at all. Many reasons for that. That would be for another video. But what I want to show you is like as it's did the same thing with Cardano. Look, the cross did not happen between the red and the yellow right here. Super bullish posture. EOS in 2018. Look at what happened. Super bullish posture. Nice bubble pop of a Bitcoin right here. And then the cross did not happen. More all-time highs right here. And there was such craziness in the crypto market, and we're seeing similar craziness in the crypto market right now. There was this Lisk, same thing. I remember looking at this chart in 2018. Look at this. There was never even close to being a downward chart. That's crazy that the wick here is fucking up the chart, but this was the blow off top right here of Bitcoin's blow off top in 2018. Look, revisiting the all-time highs, and the posture of the moving averages is just perfectly bullish the whole way through from bull market to bear market. Still bullish posture, and it fooled everyone. Why? Because these charts don't matter. The Bitcoin chart is the only one that really matters and always mattered from the beginning. The other ones are very interesting and may become more relevant in the future, but I think Bitcoin is still the king and is leading the market. So I think we should not be fooled by bullish charts like the one we're seeing on Ethereum or Cardano right now. And on top of it, remember how ICOs were crazy? Every new crypto project was mooning like absolute nonsense in 2018. Well, look at this, Solana. I don't even know what the fuck this is, and it's ripping like crazy. I really don't see how something like this could be sustainable, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just saying, look, I don't think this is a reason to be bullish on Bitcoin. I don't think at all. I think this is a very similar situation as what happened in Bitcoin in the past. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is the short term. What the hell is happening right here, right now? Well, I made my video last week right here because I started to see signs of weakness, but I wasn't convinced at all that, first of all, the stochastic was getting high. Now it's even higher. This is very high. There's definitely a point where it could reverse. Last time it was that high. We got a big dump right here. This is an area where it could reverse. So I definitely consider that it could reverse right here, right now. But if I had to bet, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I may want to bet on Bitcoin actually going a last stretch like this before the reversal like this. But the thing is, what happened is, look, there was a trend line on the 4-hour, like very obvious trend line on daily or 4-hour. You can see a trend line right here. Then it got respected perfectly right here. Then it got respected again here and again as resistance when it got broken. And now it's acting as resistance, okay? So to me, that's a sign of weakness. That doesn't mean it's going to reverse from here, right now. It could still go up. I'm just saying it's a sign that normally a rally, when it gets more strength and more strength, you get trend lines that become steeper and steeper. Just like you could see a trend line right here, okay? There was a lot of strength. Trend line right here, then a steeper trend line, and that's how parabolas are formed. The trend lines become steeper and steeper, but then when trend lines get broken, that's the first signs of weakness. Just like when we saw the trend line right here get broken, or even if you want to put a more aggressive trend line, you can do this. And then you say, whoa, it got broken right here. And then this was the resistance right here. You could always make an argument like this. And that is, to be fair, true. It's a sign of weakness. It wasn't, the trend lines from here were getting steeper and steeper, but then the trend lines started to get broken here, and that was the sign of weakness. So I do see signs of weakness, but the problem is there's no lower low. Look right here. There was a lower low from here to here. There was a lower low, and then you got the lower high here. So these were signs of weaknesses. You don't have that right now. This is not a lower low. There's no lower lows right now. So it's hard for me to say that without a doubt it's going to reverse right here, right now. I think it's very possible that we get a pop back up before we get a lower low, okay? Because there's no lower low. So I'm starting to see signs of weakness, but I don't see an obvious sign of weakness right here, right now. Now, what is to be expected in the future? Well, look at how there was an obvious range right here, okay? Obvious range right here. And when the price came back, here, the price range got respected perfectly, as it usually does in the financial markets. So what do we have higher? Well, we have another range. Look, there's an obvious range right here between this level and this level, around the mid-40s and the 60K. And the range has been like 4 times more time spent in that range than here. So it's very reasonable to think that if it pops in the higher portion of this range, it should spend some time fucking around in this range, okay? So don't start, I'm saying to myself, not necessarily to you guys, but because I'm not your financial advisor, but to myself, if Bitcoin pops to 60K, don't freak out. That's why I'm telling myself, because there's such a obvious range in this area. It has to be respected. I really don't see how it could not be respected and just blast through like this. If ever I was wrong, I don't think at all that this is possible. I think this is fantasy land. Absolutely, almost absolutely impossible. It's never possible, but I really don't see that happening. Now, what other resistance here do I see in this area? Well, that would be like the last line of resistance would be the 60K. Other resistances I see is another trend line right here. Resistance, support, support, support. Where does it come? Into the 55, 56K area, okay? Now there's another trend line right here. Resistance, resistance. Pops above the trend line right here. And then comes back down. There's some resistance there, and then pops below, which legitimizes the trend line even more. Then you get even more resistance right here. So I think that's a pretty powerful trend line as well. Holy shit, we're right on it. Thing is, with trend lines, you never know. Should it be a little bit like this? Should it be a little bit like this? Hard to tell. But hey, we're in that area right now where resistance is starting to get stronger. The daily stochastic is getting extended as well. Lots of time spent in this zone. If the price goes up, we're gonna spend even more time in there. Then there's another thing. If you do a Fibonacci sequence from the top to the bottom, look at how Fibonacci sequence got respected perfectly. It's pretty damn amazing. And there was some resistance right here, which turned into support at the 236. Then the 382 was a resistance, which turned into support when it got broken. Then the next one, the 0.5, which was resistance again, turned into support right here when it got broken, and right here and right here. And then the next one, 618, resistance again, then turns into support here. So is it reasonable to say that price could go up to the 786 and then be used as resistance? Yeah, for sure. Definitely very possible. So, and where does the 618 happen to be? Well, at the lowest part of this range, which I've been talking about. It's lowest part of the range. So definitely a lot of resistance right here. Resistance here, resistance here, resistance at the Fibonacci, then resistance at 60K. Tons of resistance right here, okay? Now, another resistance which we can see is the volume profile. Look at this. tons of volume right here, tons and tons and tons, and the price hasn't even gone back there. All this volume was made in this past price action right here, and which was even more resistance than more time spent in this area than there was here, even though we had all this time back then. So this is huge resistance. There's the stochastic, weekly stochastic is very high. There's these trend lines right here. There's the Fibonacci level. So this area is just, I'm going to remove everything so we can see. This area right here is absolutely crazy with resistance. We are in it right now, so we could be already at the reversal point. I don't know. There's no sign of that yet, but this is an area of very high resistance. So what is the bullish case if I was wrong? I want to tell you, because I could be wrong. I think I have a pretty high percentage rate of success on my calls, but I am wrong once every now and then. So if ever I'm wrong, and this is a super cycle double bubble, what would happen? Because of all the resistance I showed you there, I find it strongly improbable that something like this would happen. I almost not consider it at all. So what would be the most bullish thing that I would consider? Well, probably something like this. Pop to 60K, drop by to the down to the lowest part of the range, consolidation here, and then pop back up. Just like we saw here. You see, there was a rally, then back down, then grinding the previous resistance, which was here, grinding it right here. A lot of messing around, and then pop back up. If we spend a lot of time in here and there's no reversal like this, if the time is just long and we spend weeks and weeks and months and it's still in this area, this is going to be very bullish. I don't expect that's going to happen, but I think this is what's likely to happen in the most bullish scenario. But I'm still much more convinced that there may be something like this that's going to happen. Okay? For all the reasons that I've told you previously. All right, so I think this was pretty much all I needed to tell you for right now. If something changes in the next weeks or months, I'll make another video. If not, this may be the last for quite some time because I'm looking at big time frames. So I don't expect whatever the price does here, the macro analysis will remain the same. All right, so have a good day, guys. Ciao.